Hello and welcome to the 2020 ODOT ACEC Partnering Awards. Yes, I did say 2020. Unfortunately, just as we were preparing for the 2020 Partnering Conference last year, COVID-19 arrived and the 2020 ODOT ACEC Partnering Conference was canceled. At today's event, we want to take the opportunity to recognize the projects that were selected for the 2020 awards.
The Design Awards Committee was comprised of ODOT, FHWA, and ACEC representatives. The committee accepted nominations in 4 categories based on construction value, and projects were judged on the project development process, plan and contract quality, alignment and location design, cost-effective design, complexity of design, and community-sensitive design.
Let's jump right into it and announce our first winner. Up first, Category 1, construction value up to $5 million. The winner is the Portage 303 project in District 4, designed by S&ME, ODOT Project Manager Thomas Powell, and S&ME Project Manager Christopher Nye. The overall goal of this project was to raise the roadway profile to correct drainage and flooding issues along a section of State Route 303 in the city of Streetsboro, Portage County, Ohio. Let's hear from the project team about this important project.
I'm Chris Nye with S&ME. I was the geotechnical project manager on the Portage 303 project. The project need was to raise the roadway profile in order to reduce flooding. I live in this area and the roadway would flood out very frequently and disrupt traffic flow.
We were looking originally at 2 locations, what we consider the West Bowl and the East Bowl, in an area of wetlands and deep peat deposits.
We initially started looking at the West Bowl. As we drilled and did our boring explorations, we identified that the peat and soft soil deposits extended down about 120 feet. There was also some environmental restrictions in that area. There was a fen wetland identified that came right up almost to the shoulder of the road. So with those challenges, we ended up focusing more on resolving the flooding issues on the East Bowl.
We raised the profile of the East Bowl approximately 4 to 5 feet to get it above the floodplain. The peat deposit was approximately 60 feet deep in the East Bowl.
As we ran our analysis during design, we calculated that we would have 10 feet of settlement due to an 8-foot surcharge load, which was shocking, to be honest with you. Yeah, there are a number of technical challenges on the project, and we really kind of worked through the project in multiple phases as we discovered and came to light some of these challenges.
The obstacles for the project we had to overcome were environmental in nature for the most part. We were dealing with large banks of wetlands, endangered species such as the spotted turtle, and we actually did install some tunnels for the turtles to get from one side of the road to the other side of the road. The
contractor brought in normal weight fill and placed it on top of the soft soils, allowed it to sit during a waiting period for about 2 or 3 months. Then we removed all those surcharge materials and then constructed the final roadway embankment using a lightweight aggregate material. Wick drains were installed through the peat soils in order to expedite consolidation of those materials and to reduce the waiting period during construction. We also installed a geogrid reinforced aggregate mat at the bottom of the embankment in order to function as a construction platform for the wick drain installation and all the fill placement, but then also to reduce differential settlements of the final embankment material.
For District 4, the ability to partner with a geotechnical engineering firm is vital to our success, and working with Chris and the team at S&ME has been wonderful. They are very responsive and they are experts in the field of geotechnical engineering, and we could not have done the job without them.
Yeah, S&ME was really pleased to have the opportunity to partner with ODOT on this project. It was a pleasure for me to work with Tom and his team at ODOT District 4 on solving this really technically challenging project. It was very unique, and to have the opportunity to work with them all the way through final design, plan set, preparation, and construction was really just an enjoyable process. Even during the field exploration, ODOT provided their CPT rig to do cone penetrometer testing to supplement the explorations that we did. So it was really a full partnering from the very beginning.
On to Category 2, construction value over $5 million up to $20 million. The winner is the Marion 309 Railroad Grade Separation Project in District 6, designed by Mead & Hunt Incorporated, ODOT Project Manager Brian Davidson, and Mead & Hunt Project Manager Mike Chodala. This project was needed to resolve the growing conflict of the at-grade crossing of the railroad spur, as you'll hear now from the project team.
The original project was part of a track application back in around 2009, 2010. As a result of intermodal trains coming from the CSX main line serving the Marion Intermodal facility, there were about 10 to 15 trains per day. They would block the crossing, sometimes for 15 minutes, sometimes longer than that, and causing a real problem for people not only traveling along 309, but for emergency services, fire and EMS, as well as for people simply trying to access the parks that were on either side of the crossing. At times, kids would simply get out of the car and climb through the trains to get to the baseball game. So that obviously was not a good situation.
The study looked at that congestion. We went to the public and evaluated alternatives.
One of the original alternatives was a realignment of 309 to simply avoid the crossing, to go around in behind the facility along a township road basically, and then tie back in at 309 further to the east.
Initially, the public did not like the alternative. They thought we were skirting the problem. From the public's perspective, not only do we have a baseball for youth complex here on site, but we also have a senior center and a developmental disability school. So realigning would still leave the blocked crossing as a detrimental impact to their facilities. So we regrouped, we talked with the consultants and confirmed that the grade separation was a better solution than the realignment.
The next challenge was funding. So what we did from the very beginning, we had an initial kickoff meeting, brought Brian into our office, and he was just part of our team. And so he established the initial goal for us to try and find cost savings for the project. So we were able to find solutions where we eliminated some retaining walls, eliminated the necessary relocation of some utilities that reduced that cost and brought this thing into the budget that ODOT had available.
We were continuously corresponding and addressing concerns. We actually ran this as more of a design build review format where we would give our reviewers 14 days and then we would have comment resolution meetings to address the concerns on the spot and allow Mead & Hunt to continue developing the project in a timely manner.
Maintenance of traffic was a challenge. We wanted to keep traffic moving on 309. We were able to come up with a solution to we shifted the alignment slightly to the north and were able to keep traffic moving on the existing road by using a temporary retaining wall during construction. That seemed to work out very well, and that saved a lot of money as well.
We had not a lot of drainage opportunities up here as far as an outfall was concerned. So the subsurface tiles were 100 years old. There was no good outlet to any stream close by. We petitioned the county to upgrade the tile and then take it over for long-term maintenance, which they got the easements, they did the work, we just utilized the outfall, and it saved us a lot of money and a lot of issues with right-of-way acquisition. We were in jeopardy from the beginning of impacting a rectified gas line that actually had electric current through it. We really had to evaluate where we were going to uncover or fill over top of that gas line, and Mead & Hunt did a great job of helping us go from $1 million impact to a net zero impact to avoid having to relocate that line.
The Mead & Hunt team worked with ODOT, especially our environmental and real estate people, to come up with a solution that really worked to meet not just the transportation needs, but the local stakeholders' needs.
The senior center had a lot of unknowns when it came to transportation needs, emergency runs. Having this project complete, they now can look at the schedule and know when they're going to be able to make their runs and not have any obstructions, not have to take a detour.
So it was just communication and teamwork. Brian set the initial target and goal for us. The clarity that he provided my team of what he would like to see us do really gave us the freedom to come up with some innovative ideas.
The constant communication, the partnering that we received with the department and Mead and Hunt was really what helped make this project happen with the schedule that we were constrained by.
This project, as a railroad grade separation, is a lot more than that. It's a safety project, it's an economic development project, and it's also a quality of life project. The team really did a great job of turning this into something more than just a roadway project.
I think people should be very happy with the outcome of the project. Just driving through it today after it's been open for over a year or so now, it's working very well. The project looks very good. ODOT has made a very good improvement in this part of Marion County.
Next, let's announce the winner in Category 3, construction value of over $20 million. The winner is Franklin County 670 Smart Lane Project in District 6, designed by Burgess and Neipel. ODOT Project Manager Tony Turowski and Burgess and Neipel Project Manager Brian Toombs. The Smart Lane project helps combat congestion on the I-670 corridor, which is a major artery connecting downtown Columbus to the John Glenn International Airport. Hear more about it now from the project team.
670 was really a corridor you couldn't really predict how it was going to behave every day. Something ODOT had wanted to fix for a long time.
We had bottlenecks every afternoon and throughout the day as well, especially when there's crashes on site, construction, maintenance. It was really a tough corridor to work with.
So we opened our toolbox and looked at some new techniques to try to solve this problem. And one of those was hard shoulder running. And that was really to use the existing inside shoulder as a lane when we needed it. ODOT did a lot of good work in our Officer Roadway engineering to go research this concept, look at different locations around the state and see which ones would get the most benefit. That's actually one of the reasons we picked 670. It had the most opportunity for the most improvement.
When we first got the scope basically said we're going to stop the smart lane basically just past the airport, but not actually go into the 270 interchange. The design team, we looked at it and we did our traffic models, and what we saw very quickly was we don't think it's going to work, because what we were seeing was we were kicking the can down the road, so to speak. So that congestion that you're seeing as you're exiting downtown, we were alleviating that. But what was happening was by the time it got back down to where that smart lane tapered in, it was back and rippling back through and causing that congestion, that bottleneck.
So even though we were improving capacity on the freeway, we still needed to fix things downstream.
The consultant team at ODOT basically got together and said, what if we punch this lane through the interchange? Once we opened it, we saw it as well, that being able to punch that smart lane all the way through the corridor and through the interchange provided a significant value. But obviously that came with a cost.
We knew a widening would be over $100 million. So we needed to cut down from there. So we were able to get down to, I think our awarded construction value was in the low 60 millions. So that was really good. That was something we could fund and could get built.
We had a value engineering session. And what we were able to do is, through that exercise, wean this project back down, add the added benefit of the widening through the interchange. So the scope evolved quite a bit there in the first couple months.
You think about cutting 10% of a project's cost during design, that doesn't happen very often.
With this being a new concept, we definitely had to reach out to a lot of our local partners. The City of Columbus, the Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission, Central Ohio Transit Authority, all were very interested in what we were doing in this corridor.
We included Columbus early on in the discussions because obviously this corridor is taking a lot of their people either home from downtown or out to the airport.
And I'm proud to say, with our Public Information Office, the project team on the technical side, the outreach with the emergency services in particular, all of that outreach throughout the project, they delivered on the promises that we made early on in the coordination.
The public was interested in seeing the improvement, but I would say they were skeptical because from their point of view, why not just stripe it? So it really kind of was an education opportunity to say, yeah, certainly we need this in the afternoon, but the rest of the day you want that shoulder for breakdowns, for law enforcement, for maintenance, that kind of thing.
The public information, they did a great job of messaging this, but keeping it simple so that the day it opened, there wasn't this panic. When a green arrow dropped in on that lane the day it opened, It was amazing to me to see how quickly we saw cars moving over because they had been primed leading up through this process. The schedule was lightning fast. I mean, you're talking about an 8-mile improvement project along 670, a full system interchange reconstruction, plus about 4 miles along I-270. You put that all together and it was a design schedule of essentially 9 months.
We got to go in 2016 and we sold the contract in 2018 and then really opened the thing that following fall. Really was developed very quickly in design and then had a very aggressive construction schedule so we could start getting the benefit for the public.
I would say the biggest key to us hitting this schedule was the project team coordination meetings we had. So we met bi-weekly. As I said, we had 8 consulting firms on the team. The difference on this was it wasn't just the design team that got together. Every 2 weeks, we also, with the design team meetings, we invited Tony. When he's listening to the coordination and he's hearing the dialogue, he either can make a decision right then or he can get back to me really quickly, which was something Tony was fantastic at doing.
I was able to be on the call with Brian and all of his different subs and just hear their questions and try to get answers on the fly. That was really good partnering, and I think it saved a lot of time and allowed us to meet our schedule.
By the end of the project, we were actually able to, at various points of the project, give money back to ODOT because we didn't actually need all the budget that we had asked for because of that efficiency. Very, very early in the process, even as far back as the value engineering that we did on this project, we got construction involved.
They had a very tight time frame for the design work of the project, and they nicely enough handed that down to us in construction.
District 6 construction was reviewing the plans along with the technical staff. Those comments were extremely beneficial.
The partnering that Tony and Brian had mentioned continued through the construction phase.
We were designing it, but traffic operations, they're going to be the one maintaining it. They're going to be the one operating it. So, we need to make sure that we're working with them to give them a system that works.
Our TMC staff was the staff that ultimately operated the smart lane, opened the shoulder, changed the speed limit, and put information out to OGO.
This is my man Trey. He's the smart lane operator. Check that out. So cool, this guy. So focused.
We were involved with our ITS group. We coordinated a lot with them about the spacing of the signs. We coordinated with the incident responders on how exactly this is going to work, so we joined a lot of the meetings.
It was to implement a significant amount of technology improvements that ODOT had not done before. So, it was a really cool opportunity, not just for the design team, but to that coordination with ODOT to do something that hadn't been done in the state.
It works incredibly well. Traffic speeds were high throughout PM rush hour, which is a novel concept for 670. Within a matter of a week, we knew, oh, this is going to work.
Tony being in construction, the ITS department, and the TMC all worked really well together and kept communication lines open, which was really the biggest thing.
It was truly groundbreaking, very innovative strategy, and to be able to lead the project team to develop this solution was really exciting.
Been a great opportunity and outcome because of the team we had both at the district and with Burgess and Knightville.
And our last category is Category 4, LPA ODOT LET projects. The winner is the Stark County Hoover Trail West project in District 4, designed by IBI Group. ODOT Project Manager Rebecca McCarsky, IBI Group Project Manager William Crongston, and LPA sponsor Bob Fonte, Director of the Stark County Park District. This project constructed the 4th phase of the Hoover Trail as part of the Stark County Park District's long-term plan to build an interconnecting trail system throughout Stark County. Let's hear more about this exciting project now.
I'm Bill Croxton. I'm a senior roadway project engineer at IBI Group in Canton, Ohio, and I was the lead designer and project manager on the Hoover Trail project. So the Hoover Trail is a 4,200 feet concrete path from the Hall of Fame Bridge over 77 to Price Park. And it's actually the 4th leg of the Hoover Trail that keeps extending west. And I guess Stark Parks just got funding to continue it west, so we are just one piece of the puzzle for the county-wide trail system. Some of the things we incorporated in the Hoover Trail was the Z-gate system. There were 6 sections of retaining walls We had a signalized crossing, so we had to add ped heads, some crosswalk markings, and toward the end at Price Park, where we had to cross the road, we had to add a RRFB, which is a fancy name for a flashing beacon, to allow crossers to push the button, cross, and go back and forth to the park.
My name is Becky McCarsky. I'm a project manager here in ODOT, District 4. Early on, one obstacle that we ran into was a large utility box owned by AT&T. And thanks to Mass Steel, ODOT's utility coordinator, the box was moved in plenty of time before construction commenced. Another obstacle was they had to coordinate with Altman Hospital because they had to modify their drainage to accommodate Altman's parking lot.
You would think with a simple side path project, it'd go pretty smooth and no obstacles, but actually it had several obstacles. There was a railroad crossing, there was a signalized intersection, and at the Hall of Fame Bridge, because of the steep slopes, we actually had to provide special benching. Typically, railroad crossings extend the project timeline, but we were able to expedite and get that easement across the railroad in a pretty good time.
There were many involved parties. Stark County had major involvement in this project and they kept a good eye on the project. Stark Park was involved, they were always very helpful, they always had feedback. The project had to realign the side path in a couple of spots due to a brick monument that belonged to the city of North Canton and to an existing retaining wall. When the issue arrived in construction, they needed a set of plans. IBI was very quick to any issue that needed resolved, and they were very open to communication.
One interesting part of the Hoover Trail was the introduction of the Z-Gate system, which actually ODOT introduced to us and we implemented in the plans. And what it is, it's a series of chain link fences in the shape of a Z that basically slows down pedestrians so that they're not just going over the railroad tracks without looking left or right.
It was an honor to be the project manager in such an interesting project that accommodates bikers and pedestrians. I'm an avid walker and cyclist myself, so I was excited to play an important role in a project like this.
I think this project was a success because there were multiple parties involved and everybody communicated really well. Stark Parks did a lot of engagement with the community and got a lot of public support. It provided a cost-effective project that enhances safety and connectivity for pedestrians and trail users.
Congratulations to all of our winners, and on behalf of the Design Awards Committee, thank you so much for your participation. We hope you've enjoyed today's session, and we look forward to seeing everyone again next year in person.